Welcome to the Coach's Corner podcast, a platform where we get together to share our experiences, industry insights, and create discussions that challenge our own biases and thought processes behind everything that we do. This podcast is brought to you by our partners, Iron Edge, who are industry leaders in high-performance strength training equipment in Australia. If you're after any strength training equipment and spot something of interest, I'll then connect with the team over at Iron Edge and I'll see if I can snag you a better deal. Now over to the podcast. All right, guys, welcome back. Season 2, Episode 1. Today we're joined by Chris Dikranis and Nick England. Welcome, boys.
Thank you, boss.
Thanks. Before we get stuck into things, obviously very rapt to have you on board. We're going to go through a bit of an update as to sort of what's happening at peak, obviously the Christmas break and the holiday period. It's been in our industry. I see it as we come back obviously a little bit slower than most industries. I feel like the trade industry and whatnot come back booming. They go out of the year booming, come into it booming. We sort of really die off and it takes quite a long time to get back into the swing of things. But it's also refreshing to be able to dial down on systems, get things organized, get a lot of back end stuff done. Obviously, Nick, there's been a bit of movement in our space, which is great, and gives people like yourself a lot of opportunity, which is fantastic. But it also gives us a chance to dial back in on those things. So I guess first thing off the cusp, we're excited to announce, a lot of people have probably seen online, that Lumin will be jumping on board as another podcast partner with Iron Edge, which will come to fruition very shortly. So very excited to have them, and we'll be rolling that out. I think all programs will be ready to go for our members from Monday, February 2nd. So other than that, welcome to the show, Chris. I'll let you give yourself the introduction you deserve. And yeah, we'll go from there, mate. So welcome on.
Thank you, boss. Well, to keep it concise, do you want to kind of start with who I am and where I kind of came from?
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, well, obviously, Peak's based in Melbourne. So if there's any viewers outside of here, Melbourne, I grew up in Melbourne. Greek, both parents are Greek. So they were hard asses on me when I was younger. So hopefully that kind of put into my work ethic a bit, and that kind of arose. I've been playing soccer for pretty much my whole life. Had a period where also stuck into coaching that I didn't play, and I kind of got back recently and I love it. So sport's always been a big thing for me. To try to keep it as concise as I can. Growing up, played soccer, loved it, like just everything. Like I have ADHD myself, so I'm just fucking hyper focused on something. I just loved it. Just every day played it, grew up and just trained all the time. When I was 16, I was, playing at a high level. I had opportunities to go to a camp overseas later in that year, and unfortunately I tore my ACL. So as a 16-year-old, it was the biggest downfall initially at that point in my life. And it doesn't sound like much, but for a kid who just absolutely fucking loved it, like that was everything to me. It was pretty hard. Sorry, 15 is when I tore my ACL, and that was tough. And the coach actually stopped talking to me out of nowhere. So for me, it was just like every opportunity felt like it just dropped. So at 15 years old, I met one of Christian Woodford Sports Science Consulting's workers at our pre-season. And I thought, fuck, I need to do my work experience somewhere. 15 years old, and I asked him, can I do it? And then he asked Woody, and Woody said no. Then I asked him the second week, can I do it? He asked Woody, he said no. I asked him the third week, can I do it? I was like, mate, I'm just fucking persistent.
Were you only 15?
15 years old.
So I was just like year 10 work placement.
Yeah, it was actually the end of year 9 when I was organising, yeah. So start of year 10. And then he's like, all right, fuck it. Christian said yes. He's like, you've asked me enough fucking times. Anyway, went there and loved it. First week there, I was just immersed by an atmosphere. I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't know what strength conditioning was. I just loved sport. And I realized how beautiful this industry is and how exciting it is. The energy, the passion. Like, he was a very passionate person, right? He loved what he did. And I think it just kind of sparked onto me, like, when I do something, I do it because I love it. Like, I'm not going to waste my time with something I don't care about. And I think when I saw that in him and his love for sport, for exercise, helping athletes, right? I thought, well, this is amazing. I just fucking fell in love. I couldn't even explain. It's like love at first sight. And after that week, I was just so immersed in wanting to know what it was about, learning more about it, whether it was for myself as an athlete or to help others. And then from that journey, I was working as a fish and chip job at my first job, right, at 15 years old, and I was earning $100 a week, and his membership at the time was $80. So I would spend that $80 of my $100 and save $20 a week, and I would spend it out of my own pocket because my parents were the type of people that were like, you wouldn't pay for it. And they didn't have a lot of money growing up. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to invest. That's the one thing my dad always told me. He's like, you got to fucking put your money somewhere that's going to pay back. He's like, that $100 you earn a week, he did say this to me, my dad, and he said, that $100 you earn a week is going to do nothing for you and it's not going to save money long term. He's like, you got to put it somewhere. So for me, I was like, fuck it, this is what I want to do. I was all in. And my parents at the time did think I was stupid. They didn't know what strength conditioning was. I didn't even know what it was. But I just backed myself. No one thought it was like believed in me, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put that money in there. So every week I'd catch the bus after school, roll in, and I would learn from Woody. So he'd train me. So he was my coach in that membership setting, and I'd just do my ACL rehab there. I was learning, and then I'd spend about 3 hours afterwards, 3 times a week, and 3 hours every session afterwards till fucking Woody would close those doors. I'd be sitting there learning off him, listening to what he was saying, and you know what Woody's like, he'd just throw you in the deep end. Like I remember my first day, he said to me, "Stride for here for 4." And I was like, he was trying to say strider, frog, and figure 4, his 3 most favorite mobility exercises. I had no idea what the fuck they were, but I gave it a crack, right? I fucked it up, and I did it again and again and again. And I used to warm up all these athletes, how it started. Then I used to run them through their core exercises at the end. That's how it started. Just the basic things. And because I was in no rush, I wasn't earning money, I was just fucking eager to learn and just be a good coach. Think about it, 15 years old, 16 years old. By the time I was 17, 3 years, right? Because I turned late in the end of the year. I was in year 12, right? And I've been doing it for probably about, just 2.5 years by that point. End of year 9, then rolling through. So at year 12, I had my own client base of athletes. Right, again, it wasn't being, I just loved it. I was around that much that there was athletes that Woody trusted me by that point to start programming for. So at that point, I was writing programs, I was coaching them, I would text them what times. Shout out to Stanley, my first ever client, my athlete. And I was actually writing programs in year 12, fucking writing them, bang. So then by the end of year 12, I was just like so immersed, literally 3 times a week for God knows how long. I came back to sport playing the best I could. I fucking knew what I wanted to do. I realized this is something that can change people's sporting careers. I had no idea. I came back and I felt the best I've ever felt, right? I saw people do it, right? I started to learn how to do it, right? Was I good by that point? No, but I was just fucking trying again and again and again and again. So by the end of year 12, right, and Woody will tell you this, his business was at a crossroad. It was either going to collapse just due to personal reasons. He was really struggling at the time. He'd put all his efforts in there and he just mentally was done. And there was myself and a guy called Jeremy Borzillo, and we had 2 options. We could either walk away and probably find an internship somewhere, maybe get a job somewhere else, or we could put in the love, back and effort to the passion he gave into us. So I made a decision, and for that 12 months of my first year out of school, which I did uni. I don't even remember going to uni. Nick apparently remembers me, but unfortunately, I just don't even remember going because I was working 7 days a week at Woodford for free, and that wasn't a choice. That wasn't a force onto me. That was a choice by me.
So you're doing this for free?
For free, because I wanted to build the business back up, and so did Borzillo. We worked our fucking asses off. So we had 13 members by that point at end of my year 12, where the business was going to collapse. That was it, and I just tried to sell and talk to any fucking person. And we got it to 55 by the end of the year. And that was huge. And we're up and running. And I got my first paycheck of $250 for the week. And I was like, this is fucking sick. And for me, I didn't give a fuck. Money per hour didn't mean nothing to me. I just wanted to coach. I just loved it that much and wanted to help people. Right. And then another year later went and we started to build it up. The gym just got bigger and this is where there was no such thing as a role. Woody never said, "Oh, I'll pay you this, you can become a coach." I saw a vision. He was struggling and I thought I could either back out or all that energy and time I'd spent for the 3 years, I could build it into something. I saw it as opportunity. Right. And Christian didn't even know it at the time. He was obviously struggling. So I just fucking immersed myself. Again, first year out, we built it. Second year, it just got bigger. We started an internship program. I started running internship programs for athletes. Then the third year, it was getting really big and we were starting to build it up even more. I had so many athletes on my database. I started handballing them to other coaches. And it got to the point where I was like, fuck, this is I'm comfortable. The gym's running smoothly. We had care and operations manager. We were doing podcasts, internships, clients coming in. We had phases. We had systems. So I thought, I need to get out of here. I'm getting too comfortable. And that's when I decided to, Woody said, if you want to be, I remember this because I was meant to go to actually Colorado Buffaloes, right, in my first year out of uni, which I'm glad it didn't happen because COVID hit. So we were busy coaching, right? 3 years later, I figured I need to go to college. I need to go do an internship there. That's where the best coaches go, I need to challenge myself. So I thought, you know what, I'm at this point where I was comfortable and I was stagnant. So I decided I'm going to head to college. I went to do a off-season, pre-season with the University of Iowa. Shout out to Chris Doyle and Raymond Braithwaite. The best systems to learn speed, power, strength, just a full strength and conditioning system. Came back, ran my role. I pretty much made the head of performance role at Woodford, and we just kind of built more systems, internships, coaching. Then it got to a point where I felt like there needs to be another step. I was hassling a coach at Storm to grab a coffee, to the point that I got a free internship as an assistant as the under-17 strength and conditioning coach for their pathways. First ever for Storm to run under-17s in Melbourne. The head guy got sacked. He asked me if I wanted to be the head guy. I knew nothing about rugby league. I thought, fuck it, let me give it a crack. My first season, I reckon I butchered it, but I just tried my best, tried everything I can. Second season, got pumped up to the under-19s because they liked my energy and my enthusiasm. Killed it there. Met a guy called Dean Benton. Unreal, huge mentor. Another head coach who used to work full-time at Storm, Tony Adam, said to me, I'm running a rugby league academy out of a high school in Victoria, in St. Albans. We got heaps of rugby league kids, but there's no system, there's no pathways. I need someone. Bada bing, bada boom. I thought this is an opportunity. I just saw it, went there, started with 15 hours contracting, built it to 25. 25, I proposed for a full-time job. Full-time job, I built up the program to now, like I told you, it's built up even bigger. And I work at a rugby league academy high school where we've got kids coming from 7 to 12, girls and boys. We're getting them into pathways. And I just finished up my Storm pathways work end of last year. So 3 years.
So you wrapped that up now?
Yeah, I wrapped that up just because the program is so big now that I was doing both at the time, working full time. When I was first contracting, I was contracting at both Storm pathways. Then I was working full time and still doing Storm, and it was a lot and it was awesome and I was still learning heaps. But 3 years later of doing Storm, I decided the pathway system's awesome, it's great, but now my job is not to work on getting kids just into the pathways and then working on the pathways. I want to focus on just building kids into that pathway. Mm-hmm. So that was my primary aim, and here we are now. So hopefully that kind of sums it up a little bit. I know there's some clubs in there and athletes along the way, but tried to summarize it as best I can.
Yeah. Well, I think like the most important part is to understand that it's more prevalent now in this day and age, just your pure passion and love for coaching people and just wanting to get your hands dirty, get in the gym, be with people, coach people, improve and learn is something that, you know, we've spoken about it with every guest we've had on the podcast so far. It's just something that's too few and far between, which we'll touch on in a second, but it's a true testament to your dedication and you know, going over the States would be awesome. I'd love to hear more about that and in comparison to what it's like over here.
Yeah. I mean, So the University of Iowa, they used to have a strength and conditioning coach called Chris Doyle, like I mentioned before, and he's the highest ever paid strength and conditioning coach. He did leave the year before I went there, but his guy, Raymond Braithwaite, underneath him, who became the head guy, was under him for 18 years. So the system is Chris Doyle's system, and nearly every coach you see in the collegiate system has learnt off Chris Doyle because he actually has his whole system that they've given out to so many different colleges. I remember when Woody had gone to another college, he showed me what they learnt, and it was the exact same thing that had Chris Doyle stuff on it. It was all Chris Doyle stuff because so many coaches learnt off him. So he was a big pioneer in the industry for 30, 40 years, right? And going there, it was just another level. The prestige, the intent, the ability to coach. Like, the comparison is so different. Like, you go there and it's like every coach knows how to coach really well. Like speed, power, strength. They know it, but they know how to execute it better than half of us.
So it's more the instruction, like how,
it's just like they just know it so well. Like, we understand this, or we can talk about the science of this, but then we get programs and it's like, oh, I don't know. Whereas like everything, every detail of why they put this here to that here to this here to that here and how it all relates, and then they fucking coach it so good.
Does it get overcomplicated then?
No.
No.
They're just too good at it. Like that's the thing. Like, just because there's so much to it and nuance to it, they know how to simplify it because they know it so well. Like, these coaches understand that practical side of things really well. So like when it comes to what drill they're going to pick, they know exactly why they've done it, how to put it in the system and how they're going to work it across the week, and then exactly how to coach it. Just the level of detail of how well they understand it, how well they can execute it, and how they control these athletes. Like we're talking like at that level, you're coaching them so many different things, right? They're so capable. But the way they start with the freshmen, to your sophomores, to your juniors, to your seniors, it's like the way the program's different and the way they're coaching different aspects. And you can see like when I was there, it's the first week of the freshmen. So you can see exactly how they coach it. Like they used to memorize a 6-minute script of what they would coach each drill. So the way they'd coach a hang clean would go for 4 minutes. The way they'd progress and coach a squat would go for 10 minutes. And your job was to memorize it too, because you had to learn the Iowa way. But they would memorize it word for word perfect, because when the freshmen come in, it was like a presentation. But it made sense. It just clicked. So the standard of coaching in detail and how to understand what they're delivering is so much better.
So I think my next question would be, because obviously that articulates a lot for me and I can understand it. I probably get 10, 12, 13, 14 emails a week from university kids, people out of the industry looking for roles and looking for jobs, but aren't exploring those sort of experiences. What would someone need to do to obviously further their education and just get some experience in those settings? What would someone need to do to get their best foot forward?
Yeah, I mean, there's two answers to this question, right? Like the issue is like when a lot of coaches like ask about this, they kind of want to be in this industry, but they don't love it or they don't realize that you have to love it. Like that's, so I'll get to my point of the question, sorry. But like they just think it's good, and it's like, no one got it. You didn't run your business. Like you didn't get a job. Like I didn't get to where I am because I just thought it was a cool career. Like we fucking loved it and you put in 100%. So it's like when people say like, if you want to be a good coach, you're not even going to be a coach. You want to be a great coach, you'll become a coach. Like the thing is you have to love it, right? Because what you need to do is like, if you're emailing and asking for a job, you're already fucking 20 steps behind. Like what the fuck? Like why are you asking for a job? It's like, you don't ask for a job, you make a job happen. You give, shout out to Jay Ellis, right? Head of strength and conditioning coach at Melbourne United and a key mentor of mine. He's like, he always used the word leverage. If you don't have, like when you get leverage, right, you can ask whatever you want. You can get whatever you want and the right places will give you whatever you want, right? But if you don't create leverage, what foot do you have to stand on? Even if you get a job, how long is that going to last for? Are you even capable of doing it? Where do you go next? Like I don't have a 5-10 year plan, but when you create leverage, you can go wherever you want. So what I mean by that is go get experience somewhere. You want to go work somewhere, do the dirty work. Go get heaps of hours. You don't even know their system. You don't know Mitch's system. How do you know what Mitch wants? So now you're 10 steps behind. And now you're 10 steps behind. Where do you go from here? Mitch will either find that out and you'll get kicked out, or like what? Like you're going to spend ages trying to implement a half-assed job. How are you going to progress to the next role in Mitch's workplace or go somewhere else? Like you need to put yourself out there, gain leverage. And when you get leverage, then you it accumulates over time to a point where people start asking you, can I get this service, this service? You can be like, well, you gotta pay me this much, or no, this is what I want. But it doesn't come overnight. You know this, right? You'd understand this. It takes experience, right? It takes putting yourself into different positions. Like you can't just say, I've been at the same four walls under the same experience, right? Like, yeah, when I was at Woodfords, I was at South Melbourne Soccer Club for 5 years. I did Druin Football Club. Like, I did different clubs. You had to expose yourself. Footy, soccer, different coaches, different mentors. I've had that many different mentors. So to break it down, get experience at different places. Get experience at the place you want to work at. Get leverage through experience and get different mentors, right? Worry less about making heaps of cash and worry more about, well, how does this accumulate to build me as a coach? You're selling yourself. Then when you do that, the opportunities will come.
So the second part of that is how would then, okay, so let's assume someone had done all of that. What would be the next step in terms of approaching a club in another country or another college in another country? What would the next steps be for that sort of pathway?
You just got to go in there. Like when I did it, I just fucking emailed as many clubs, as many places I could. And I picked which ones I wanted to. And you have to go through a process. So when I was at Iowa, like I emailed them, and then 2 days later, they wanted to see a resume, and that's where have you accumulated some leverage to show them, right? Like, what are you showing them? If there's no base there, they're going to be like, well, we have a standard, right?
Did any of your connections that you built here help you over there?
Well, I think it was the fact that they could see there was different experiences, right?
In many different areas.
Yeah, but like they didn't know like who I was. They just knew I was from someone from Australia, right? They didn't really have many people international, especially in Iowa. It's fucking country town. So I was kind of coming off the back there. The two I saw, he did the interviews. He didn't know who I was. He didn't know anything about me. Then we went through an interview, which was at 4 a.m. for me. So I was up at fucking 2 o'clock. Right, I'd worked that day. I didn't give a fuck. Right, like I was ready to go, and then I interviewed, and I just pretty much said I was so hungry. So, how do you get over there? You don't get over there by being the best. You get over there by being hungry to want to be as good as you can. So, passion and hunger and the drive to just try to be better, and being humble to the fact that like I knew I had so much to learn. I still do. Like that's what makes you better, and that's what gets you opportunities. So if you go around to as many places and just say, oh, I just want to go over there. I've actually gotten a few boys over there. They're not to Iowa, but a few different places. And I said, like, you just got to say to them, like, I just want to learn. That's all they care about in the US. Like, and then when you get there, that's when you put in the show. Like we're talking 100 hours a week plus. Like when you're especially in their summer period, it's like, it's not just about getting over there. That's not too hard to get over there. It's actually about doing a good job where, I went back last year and they treated me like fucking family there. To see how they were because you built a good rapport. So that's the difference.
We're just taking a quick breather to hear from our other broadcast partner, Lumin Sports. Every strength coach has got one, but is it the right one? We're of course talking about S&C programming software. It's so important as it's basically an extension of you as a coach. Lumin Strength is the strength programmer choice for coaches, including us here at Peak. Is it time that you made the switch? Head to luminsports.com. Back to the podcast. That's fantastic, Chris, and gives a lot of great insight. I'd love to know more. Obviously, 100 hours, a lot of time during the week. Let me know what a traditional day would look like. So, for example, in our setting, they're split into 2 shifts. We do because most people would have like a full-time job or school or whatever it is from like a 9 till 3. You would have seen it when you're at Woodford's. Like a lot of the shifts would be like a 5 or a 6 till 9, 10 o'clock. Then you would come back in the afternoon. Obviously, I've been doing it for... I think I'm in my 13th year at Peak. I'm used to it now. It's all I know. So it's just ingrained in me. But I know for people like Nick and Annabelle it was tough at the start, wasn't it, with those split shifts?
Yeah, it was definitely a bit different. Going from working just a set shift during the day and then obviously, you get that big break in the middle, but I actually enjoy it. Like it's really
having
good.
to, you build up and then you almost come down from the morning, the energy in the session, then got to get yourself back up. So Chris, what would a traditional day in that setting in the college system look like?
Oh, well, I guess it's dependent on the season, but when you go in there for the summer period, so like their kind of pre-season build up, like you go into the most biggest part of the year. Like this is the time of the year that you've got 3 months before camp, which is like 3 weeks, and then season. So it's like everything needs to be done now. Like this is the time to shine, the focus, the intensity. So we would start at 4 a.m. Like the S&C coaches would have to get there. So I'd be up by about 3 o'clock because I'd call my missus at the time, just FaceTime her, have a coffee, communicate, and then I'd head to work. We'd probably get there about 3:45. 4 o'clock, we'd have to set up. So we'd have to set up the indoor field, the gym, and the outdoor field. And because they were so meticulous, like the way you set up, the rule was the way you present the gym and the equipment that you're ready to go provides the level of professionalism that you ask for.
It's also a reflection on you.
Well, yeah. Well, they said that when the athletes walk in, it should look like schmick, because for them, it's like that's the professional standard. They know they're coming into something that's fucking detailed. Like if for every lacrosse ball had to be on the left side and every foam roller had to be 2 steps from each other, right? The hurdle had to be on this line, not this line. And then it had to be, everything was done. And to memorize it was fucked at 4 o'clock in the morning, but you'd have to set up the indoor field, the gym, and the outdoor field. And when I say moving like 18 prowlers with like 300 kilos on each was fucked. But anyway, it was great. Like physical work was cooked. Athletes would get in. The first session would start at 6 a.m. So 6 till 10. They'd do warm up and speed work on the indoor field. Then they'd go straight into the gym. They'd do their strength and power work in the gym. Then they'd go straight to the outdoor fields and they'd do their conditioning. Mm-hmm. It'd go 6 till 8 a.m. first group, straight into 8 till 10 a.m. second group, until 10 till 12 third group. right? And then you'd have to pack up till about 1:30. It'd take about an hour and a half to pack everything up, right? Then you'd get lunch for about 20 minutes, right? And then you'd have to get all the data you collected, because we collected weights, speed work, so we'd have to collate all that. And you'd probably spend about 2-3 hours collating all the data, and kind of giving out the sheets, like who's underweight, who's not fast enough, whose sleep wasn't good enough that night, like, and all these things, so that the athletes could see. They needed reports every day. And then all the little nitty gritty work. Then you'd have to train for an hour. The rule was you had to do their program, because they wanted you to make sure you could do everything.
Yeah, I like that. As a part of our internship program, there's 3 aspects to it. There's obviously the education curriculum. There's the on-floor coaching aspect of it, obviously. Then there's the physical development side of things. You have to be able to execute what we're trying to put out there. So it's a really important aspect, and yeah, great to hear that's sort of what they're doing over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had to do it, and when you got assessed, because we had assessments in terms of like, not like a written assessment, like we had to present the Iowa methodology, the Iowa system every week, and we got tested on an assessment, and we had to remember it word for word perfect, but you had to execute it perfectly too. The rule was that you had to execute it, because how can you coach someone if you don't know how to do it? It kind of shows that level of like, do you really understand it? Right. Anyway, we'd train for an hour, and then we'd have to do that. We had a nutrition bar, so it'd be busy making smoothies when the athletes would come before dinner, clean up the gym, would be out by 6 o'clock, right, 6 p.m. Then we'd get home, and because we had a book every week and a 1 hour video every week, and we had to write reviews on it, and my reviews were about 2,000 to 3,000 words per review. Right, I'd be busy reading, and I'm a pretty fucking slow reader, right? Reading or watching videos and writing the reviews at night for about 2.5 hours. Would call the missus, would get to bed by 9:30, and then fucking up at 3 o'clock again.
Yeah.
So that was during the week, and then on the weekends, you pretty much had that much work to do. I'd pretty much be doing a 7-hour day of just fucking reading, writing, and reflecting on the things that they needed from us for the Monday, because the programs change like that. Like minute changes, the plyo variation goes to this, that. It's just the nuance of the way they progress it, and for the different positional areas. And because I wasn't experienced in American football, it was like...
So they progress it by the week or by the block?
Well, no. Well, the difference is like, because they're a higher level of standard, they can chase... Like, the thing is, what they do so beautifully is the things mesh together. Like, you know, I guess what we don't realize here, and a lot of coaches understand, we're so used to like, this is a 4-week block, then here's the next 4-week block I'm programming for. Whereas they've got a system. There's a pre-season, and there's like minute small blocks within blocks. There's a 2-week phase here, but then there's a 2-week phase here, then there's a 1-weeker, but then there's a 3-weeker. But it's not like it's different. It's just transitioning it. Like, are we chasing like tempo to strength, maximal strength with a volume to like velocity based training? We're measuring their bar speed. Are we going from hang to the floor to blocks, you know, with our ollies? You know, are we going from this plyo to turning it from a double continuous movement to like a triple jump into a triple to a sprint, you know? And then like, even with their builds and their flies, it's not, this is to this program, this is to that program. It's just meshed to fucking work progressively together. And when you look at it like that, that's why changes happen quickly, because they can tick it off, achieve it, right? They coach it really well that it just happens like that. They get the result, right? Like, think about it. You've got 6 hours of coaching, and those coaches are fucking locked in for that 6 hours.
How many coaches will be on the floor?
Well, there was 5 full-time performance staff and 5 interns. So 10 performance
Across the
coaches.
3, indoor field, gym...
Yeah, because...
Outdoor field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
How many athletes do you were coming in?
40 at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we have? 120 athletes. 127 athletes. Actually, remember, 127 athletes. That's how many we had across 3 groups.
So I think this podcast is quickly becoming about the college system and your experience over there, which is fantastic. I'm completely fine with that. We can just do a part 2.
Yes.
So we've now covered how someone would approach, obviously, a role here in Australia, and how to best put your foot forward for that. How to maybe get a contact and a bit of an insight into what the college system would be like over there. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Well, I think to add on to that point, this is a really important perspective that I give to coaches. Just because you go somewhere and it's on your resume doesn't mean you've gained leverage. Like, leverage is the effort you put in every time you're at the place, the internship. The leverage is someone knowing that you have the capability and the capacity from what you've done to implement it again and again and again to get results, right? That's leverage, right? Just because I did your internship doesn't mean I've got leverage. I did your internship because you saw me put in effort every fucking day.
And that's what results in a job.
Correct, and results in the job, right? Because you know I can get it. You know I can get the job done. So you think I need to hire this guy. The passion, the level, the enthusiasm, and the effort to get the job done, right? And he's going above and beyond. Like like I said to you before the podcast started, the role you're in isn't the role that you do. The role you do is the role you want to be in, right? Because I've had more jobs that I've created. Like even when I was at South Melbourne, the speed program, that didn't start from fucking the speed program was a thing. I just created it. Created the demand. You create the demand for what you want. You create the job you want to be in, right? And even if it's at an organization, you create it because if you're hungry enough, you go above and beyond. And that's just 100% execution of your job, right? And if you do that, opportunities arise because you gain leverage because you know you've put in that extra mile, that extra effort to create something. You've seen the vision. Like I have a big rule that coaches need to sit down, right, and think, what am I trying to achieve? What's the bigger picture? How can I be better? Like not enough coaches reflect. So in essence of that, to summarize, how do you get leverage, right? Do the job, go put yourself out there for free, go get internships, go work hard, do it really well where you can implement and actually get the results, go above and beyond and do the role that you want to be in, right? And reflect as a coach. Like every week, every session you coach, reflect. Coaches just do is like, they didn't reflect. Was that a good cue? Was it a good cue? Right? Why did you implement that? Right? Why'd you do that sets and reps? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Right? He felt sore. Was that because of you? Why are you not reflecting? Ask your 50 fucking questions. He's not going to do it for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not just pointing.
No, I get it.
I'm just saying this is what coaches need to do. Like, reflect. I talk to so many coaches. I'm like, you just fucking rocked up and left. You didn't even reflect. How are you supposed to learn? Go to any other job, right? They have to write things down. They have, if you're a cop, when you're a cop, you have to write things down. Okay, this is how I handled the situation. This is what I did. Yeah, and they reflect on it. They do better. So why are we not doing that? Well, the good coaches do. So that's how you gain leverage. That's how you become better because you're so meticulous with every decision and nuance and, result that you get.
So why would you think then that coaches are out there not doing those things and still expecting jobs?
Because coaches, like so many people who want to be coaches or even are coaches, they like the idea of being a coach. They like the results. They like the idea of speed and power. Like it looks cool, it's this, that, but they don't realize that to be a good coach, you need to reflect on being a coach. Sounds fucking stupid, right? But it's like, it's one thing to learn about these things or to say like, oh, I know speed, but it's like, well, do you? Like there's always more to learn. There's always ways you can implement and coach it better. So it's like, to be good at your job, they don't teach this in uni, but learning how to actually become a better coach and reflect on how to improve your ability to coach is something that not enough people do.
And I speak to you guys all the time about mentors, and I think that a lot of the kids and the young adults coming into the coaching world, they're not going to enough events. They're not speaking to enough people. They're just staying to themselves and trying to figure it out. You have to get out there. You have to speak to people. You have to go to events and show your face. And that's exactly why, if you have a look at all the guests we've had on the podcast so far, I've had Christian Woodford, I've had Jordan Radcliffe, I've had you, because you're mentors of mine. So I just want to get you in and hear more of what you got to say. And I'm sitting here writing notes on my iPad because I've gotten so much out of this already, which is fantastic. And I'll keep harping on that with you guys all the time as you guys develop and you guys learn, even you guys reconnecting again today. There's another mentorship. There's another network that you will just build on over time. So I guess on that, we'll start to wrap it up because that was fucking awesome. What's next for you?
In terms of like pathways and where I'm going?
I want to hear everything. Personal, probably a bit more personal stuff. What's next for you? Because I did want to go down that avenue a little bit more. We spoke about that, but I said,
yeah, I know.
We never go that way. So what's next for you, I guess, personally and professionally?
Yeah, well, I mean, personally, like, again, I think you get to a point where you've been putting so much in, you kind of forget about yourself. So I think I've, the past year and continuing on is like realizing like my health kind of comes first too, and like my training and like enjoying sport. Like I said, I took time off sports, actually kind of coming back to that and enjoying training. Like I got my own coach, like my own S&C coach, who's helping me, right? And it helps me learn, but two, I just enjoy it. Like I'm getting coached again. Like I'm enjoying the process of being an athlete and not just being a coach. Like enjoying what it feels like to do that again. And I think that's really nice. And, you know, you got to put your health first. And I think, you know, in this industry, sometimes it's hard and it's great. Like you got to put your body on the line, you got to put your mind on the line. But I think it's really nice for me to focus on that. So it's a big priority, I think. And, you know, it makes me better as a partner as well. Like, I think, you know, we're just enjoying, like, you know, I'm enjoying traveling the world a little bit, like with my job. Like, fortunately, I'm in a position now where I get good leave away from work. So when I'm in, I'm dialed in, and the academy is really important to me. And, you know, like my little baby, but, you know, time away from it. Like, my partner and I, we went to Italy and last year, and it was awesome. You know, we went to WA just last week and got back on the weekend, and, you know, next trip's on the plan. I think that's just, you know, beautiful. And like, obviously we're really smart and due diligent with the things that we do, but I think traveling and exploring the world for me personally is really, really something I want to do, and I've always wanted to do, enjoying sport. And then from a work-wise, it's just building that academy. Like that's my love.
It's interesting you say all that. Like, it's probably the one thing that I don't speak about often enough is like how much it actually affects my personal life. Like, my social battery is absolutely shot. What's Friday afternoon? This is probably one of the last things I want to be doing, if I'm completely honest, because my social battery is just so done with the week that's been. You know, you're handling, and like, you love it at the same time, but of course there's a limit to everything. But you know, you're helping people with their own problems and the things that they're going through, whether it be injury, whether it's personal and things going on behind the scenes, and you've got to act as a soundboard for that as well. Makes life really hard when you leave the gym and I've got my family of my own, I've got my wife, my daughter, and to be able to go home and continue to be that person is sometimes extremely, extremely difficult. You definitely manage, and reflecting and stuff that you spoke about before is really important. But it is definitely hard and not spoken about often enough. But you have to put your training and your health first, first and foremost. And, you know, it's good for people like yourself, while it's a balancing act, whilst you have to spend a lot of time getting your hands really fucking dirty, but you also got to learn to disconnect as well.
Well, it's more just like you're always like, there's a balance to a degree, but not a 50-50 balance, especially when you're younger and you're learning. Like the thing I coaches get wrong is they think, oh, it's balance, I'm just going to do less and not work hard. It's like, no, you got to work hard. But rather than making the shitty choices of not getting enough sleep, or, you know, like, are you eating right? Like, are you getting enough sleep? Are you having time to recharge your body, not just fucking sending it on the weekend? Like, you know, are you finding ways to recharge so that you can work hard? And then I think we always figure that out a bit too late sometimes, or at least myself, where it's like you fucking burn yourself and then you kind of have to kind of build yourself back up. Right, which is all part of it, but I think you can still work hard and grow when you're younger, but you just you learn that, you know, when you're young, maybe you can avoid it because, you know, your body can handle it, but then you start realizing, like, okay, you know, the health, my body, like when you see your partner, like you're excited for everyone else, but then you get home and you're fucking flat. Like, that's not the type of person you want to be. So you kind of just reflect on those things, and you want to be like, oh, I want to come home, I want to ask questions, I want to sit down, I want to be engaged. And everyone has those days where they're cooked, but learning how to balance your health and do those things, like you said, you know, is really important.
Yeah, for sure. Chris, mate, fucking awesome, mate. Always love catching up with you. We had a big hug when you walked in the door. How can people contact you?
You can just go Coach Dikranis on Instagram, or coachdikranis.com.au for my website as well.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks Chris.
Boss.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for tuning in to the Coach's Corner podcast, brought to you by our broadcast partners, Iron Edge and Lumin Sports. Please share around on your social platforms, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you next time.